All right, I'm Connor Reed, and I'm here with
Henri Clark.
And right now I'll be discussing some of my questions. Henri's from France, and he came to the U.S. So we'll start off with, can you share a little bit about your background and where in France you're originally from, and what motivated you to move to the U.S.?
Yeah, of course. So I was born and raised in Paris. Grew up there my whole life, and I decided to go to the U.S. because the school system here is way more open minded than in France. In France, it's very closed-minded, very traditional. Where if you really know exactly what you want to do, it's great. Like if you want to be a lawyer, like a doctor, stuff that's it's great to study there. But for my case, since I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do and mixing different industries, I guess it made more sense to come here.
Yeah. And could you talk about what was the process like when you first decided to move to the U.S.? Did you find the immigration process challenging or straightforward?
No, I feel like everyone was very welcoming, very curious. It was definitely a big culture shock because, of course, it's very different, culturally. But no, yeah, I thought it was very smooth. I met a bunch of friends and connections very easily. So it was very smooth. Yeah.
Yeah. What were some of the biggest cultural differences you noticed when you first got here, would you say?
I feel like the approach people have towards friendships is a little different. Same even with the approach, I feel like there's a different approach with food.
Yeah.
The food culture is definitely very different.
Fast food. Yeah.
Yeah. The music is also, it's interesting how, France is definitely very influenced by American music. If it's rap, jazz, rock, even electronic music. But I feel like everyone, between France and the U.S. have a different approach of how they listen to it. The night scene is also very different.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and since moving here, have you been able to maintain your ties with French culture, whether that may be food, language, or traditions?
No, yeah. Going home every break is always very helpful for that. So I've been trying to call my friends and family as often as I can to kind of stay in touch with my friend's side. Also, I met Flo, which French girl here that studies here, and so hanging out with her is definitely also very nice for this because we get to speak French, and she also grew up in Paris, so we have a similar background, which helps to stay with my cultural origins, I guess.
Yeah. And how would you balance your French identity with the American culture around you, would you say?
I feel it's interesting. I feel like I have my French culture as a base.
Yeah.
And then from that I grow into becoming more just including more American ways of life, I guess. But mainly through meeting you guys and making new friends, and also having to speak basically almost all the time in English, taking classes in English. All of that is definitely very new, and so I feel like I keep my French side, but living here has definitely changed me in many ways. Very positively, of course.
Yeah. And I'll do lastly, do you find yourself staying in the U.S. long term, or do you hope to return to France someday?
I think after college I'm going to go home, go back to France to work a little bit, but then because I want to do a master's in Europe. I'm not sure if it'll be in France or England, Netherlands, Italy, or France. But then I think since I want to work in the fashion industry, it'd be cool to live in New York for a little bit and have family there. And so I feel like I'm not sure when I would go back, but I think it's definitely
sometime in the future.
Yeah.